support. And I can say to you, I have a very positive feeling that that is going to have an impact in Jamaica. But you know, one of the best compliments that I received when I went down to Hounslow in St. Elizabeth, I was there when a farmer was delivering, I think it was Callaloo or one of those things. And he said to me, "Big boss, Sawebi, thank you." I said, "I should be thanking you. You are the one that is bringing those lovely produce to the factory." He says, "No, I want to thank you on a serious note." He said, "No, I can send my little daughter to university. Because university is recognizing that since I have this contract with Grace Kennedy, I can pay her tuition." When I tell you something, that alone you never ball with emotions, right? And I'm happy to say that the little daughter graduated the other day, you know. Yeah, graduated the other day without a business. The other thing that I speak about, because I'm getting the wrap-up thing, but I'll be very quick. So I said agriculture, we're going to develop downtown Kingston. But we have to have education, and I know Andrew Holness, that is his thing. He was Minister of Education. We have to invest in education. All right, so we have the crime, slow economic growth, and poor infrastructure. You know, Nelson Mandela is one of my heroes, right? And he said education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Agree with that? Yeah. So I'm saying to all of you that you have to use education to change Jamaica. That's what I'm saying. So what are we doing? For Grace Kennedy, we are sending 500 children to school, both at high school and to university from inner city. Our ambition, and it's part of my target in terms of Grace Kennedy GK 100, I want to increase that 500 to 1,000 by 2022. Let me tell you something. I personally, on an annual basis, go through your exam results for your CXC, which is high school leaving. And those little children, you see, we talk about 9 years, maths, chemistry, bio, physics, all that. And I said to myself, man, all these children want is a chance. That's all they want. They just want that opportunity that they can get proper nutrition and they can afford their school fee without thinking what they're going to pay their school fee. And if I leave you with one thing tonight, right, coming from Grace Kennedy and coming from me, Donwood, right, once we get education right in Jamaica, you're not going to believe the potential that we have. And listen, the homework center, we have homework centers that our staff, they go there and teach so the children have somewhere to learn. Another area of investments that we make on an annual basis is that of sports. Sports, right? How many of you hear about champs in Jamaica, the high school championship?
Yeah.
How many of you know in your
YouTube up.
Come on, man, it's Grace Kennedy. So yeah, we spend about $1 million US every year on championship. And you know, people ask me all the time, "Dan, that's big money there, why you spend that kind of money and things and so on and so on." And I say, remember Shellyan, remember Bolt, Asaf and them, man. Look at the pride and joy that they have brought to our country. I say, when I spend $1 million, it's not an expense, boss. It's an investment. Investment in our schools. Investment in our youth. It's an investment in our country. And it's an investment in education. Every time I see this video, I feel like I want to go back on the track and start. You never know, I used to run. I went hurt that champs, man. That's the kind of thing I look so now. I want to show you a video. And I want that some people can just turn it up for me. As Jamaicans, I hope it comes through and play, but I want you to watch this video here and see if we can turn it up. Can we get it going? Can I get the sound?
set.
Anywhere in the world, whether in Jamaica or UK, anywhere in the world, I like to finish my speech like this, and it was simple. God bless Jamaica, Amen. The greatest country in the world.
Thank you very, very much for that, Mr. Webby. Carlton Alexander, as Mr. Webby told us, said, what's good for Jamaica is good for Grace Kennedy. How about you say after me, what's good for Jamaica is good for me. And again, say after me, I will be good to Jamaica.
I will be good to Jamaica.
Excellent. Now, we have heard from our boss. Now let's hear from the only lady on the platform, Michelle Allen, who was appointed to the position of CEO of GKMS in 2014. She's credited with leading the expansion of GKMS into new Caribbean markets. And she'll be telling us a little bit about how that has been going and some exciting new developments. Michelle, please join us.
Thank you, Cleo. I will start by saying all protocol observed. It's always hard to follow your boss, and especially when he ends on a video like that. But good evening, everyone. Good evening, Queens. Good evening. One thing I wanted to bring with me today and the team was some sunshine. We didn't quite make it. Then, if I know you like I know my family, I should have bought some fried breadfruit, right? Some fish, and for my other Caribbean friends, probably some roti and bus-up shot, right? So sorry, I couldn't bring any of that. But as Cleo just said, I'm Michelle Allen and CEO of Grace Kennedy Money Services. This evening, I want to tell you a little bit about Grace Kennedy Money Services, and as Cleo said, what has been happening there. As a part of the Grace Kennedy Financial Group, we have three main services: FX Trader, where for all your foreign currency needs, Bill Express, and of course, Western Union, where you transfer your money. Grace Kennedy, or GKMS, is currently operating in 12 countries. So although I know the audience is full of Jamaican tonight, we truly operate in 12 Caribbean countries. We have been doing so, as Don said, for 28 years. Last year, Trinidad and Tobago celebrated 25 years, and this year, our colleagues in Guyana is also celebrating 25 years. Let's give them a round of applause. So, it's safe to say for almost 3 decades, we have been serving you in the region and facilitating a better quality of life. We believe in serving you, and that is why we're here today in terms of the town hall. Don spoke about the stats for remittances, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that again. And it's important to note that this industry, as he said, accounts for $2.3 billion. In terms of GDP, 16%. For Guyana, it accounts for over 8% of GDP. Trinidad, 1% of GDP. Why am I saying all of that? I'm saying all of that because you, many of you in this audience, have assisted in this growth in terms of remittances in the Caribbean and Latin America. In a quote from Manuel Orozco, he says family remittances to 17 Latin American countries and the Caribbean grew over 8% from the period 2016 to 2017, reaching as high as $75 billion. So you can see how very important this industry is and to each and every economy. So when you send money back home to your receivers to pay their bills, to send the children to school, cover medical costs, it's to meet daily needs. And I want to emphasize this issue of meeting daily, true, legitimate needs. Many of our receivers would not be able to survive if they didn't have the money that you send. Am I correct? Am I correct? Yes. All right, and that is why we're here. The fact is, remittances are very important to Jamaica. And as you heard Don said earlier in his speech, in 2017, remittances represented the #2 foreign exchange earner for Jamaica. Broken down in terms of remittances per capita, it means every single Jamaican who is sitting, you here in this room, get about $850 US per year. And when you put that in Jamaican dollars, it's close to over 100,000 Jamaican dollars for a year. So let's talk about the industry. This industry, as I said, and I will keep emphasizing, is a very important industry. And unfortunately, it's under threat. Jamaica is under threat when we talk about scamming, lottery scamming to be exact. Guyana, you'll hear us talk about human trafficking. Trinidad, you'll hear us talk about terrorist financing. So as you can see, most of our markets have some form of threat happening, and it's something that we have to combat. So for these threats, we have to work on it on the individual basis as well as collectively as a part of the Caribbean community. We know our families, your friends, live on these funds for sustenance. But together, we can make a difference in pursuing a better Caribbean tomorrow for today. And if we don't do that, I want to emphasize, we're going to have a long-term negative impact. Some of us know these guys as scammers, fraudsters, con men, tricksters, tree card men, whatever you want to call them. The fact is they're using the service operated by Western Union through Grace Kennedy Money Services and other money services company in Jamaica and throughout the Caribbean to defraud persons of their monies. And I love to say they're well-earned monies. Many of us, you'll hear the story say that, you know, when you come and work in the winter here in the States and you work so hard for that money, and to know that they're trying to defraud it from others. So what are we going to do about that? Today, I want to tell you two stories. One of Maxine and one of Miss Mavis. We're doing this to highlight the customer experience to you because we know many of you sitting in this audience are our customers, and you also have our customers and family members in Jamaica. Let me tell you a little bit about Maxine.
Maxine goes to Western Union every 2 weeks to collect money from her 3 baby fathers for her children. She also collects money from her brother and sisters in New York, DC, Atlanta, to care for their elderly mother and a sick cousin. But these days, Maxine is having a challenge collecting her money at Western Union. And it's not necessarily Maxine's fault. Think about Maxine as I continue to tell you this story. So Maxine collects her money and has been for over 15 years at Western Union. But also collecting at Western Union are these guys who are robbing people of their money. They tell people that they've won some prize in some lottery, and to claim the prize, they have to send money through Western Union. The people who believe they've won in this sweepstakes send the money to them through Western Union. That's the most common one we know of. There's also, John's wife calls a hospital and she gets an alleged doctor who says John needs emergency surgery to save his life and she needs to send the money in the next 2 hours, usually via Western Union. Of course, this is all a lie, and John lands at his destination, phones home, and that's when Mrs. John finds out she was scammed. And there is yet another common scam popping up, not just in Western Union, but throughout the entire money transfer system, where persons advertise that they're selling property online, and persons interested in this property look at the photos. Sometimes they even speak with an agent. The agent tells them that they need to send a deposit via money transfer. Of course, it's Western Union. And so, the buyer sends the money. And of course, the agent disappears with both money and property. Or, and I'm certain somebody near has had this happen, you're building a house back home. Every month, or whenever you can, you send the money to a relative or the builder to buy things for the house's construction. You're getting photos regularly about the house that's being built, and it looks good. You come home to Jamaica, and when you go to visit your dream home, only a few blocks have gone up, and the relative and builder are missing.
Anyone know a Maxine? Very, very unfortunate. We really should know a Maxine. So I've shown you just a few of the scams that are going on in Jamaica. And we have to figure out a way to stop them so that we can pursue a better Caribbean tomorrow, today. These days, when Maxine comes into Western Union, we ask her a series of questions. These questions are how we separate and differentiate between monies being sent legitimately to Maxine and monies being scammed by other persons. And for now, we want your receivers to know that we know they're complaining. We know that you're complaining, as Don mentioned. So why do we need to ask these questions? But we want you to explain to your receivers, and we want you to understand why we're asking these questions. This has become standard. We really want you to take that away with you this evening. Not just at Western Union, but every single financial service business. It's impersonal, we know, but we can't always trust the word of the person standing in front of us. So we ask these questions along with the MTCN. We will ask you for your full name, for your address, your telephone number, where the money is coming from, what is your relationship to the sender or receiver, and what is your receiver doing with this money. We know it looks hard, but these are the questions we have to ask. Sometimes we may even ask you additional questions. But if your sender can answer these questions, they will receive their money. So we need you to know and ensure that you give her and your receiver all the relevant information. Again, this will help us to really put this threat behind us. Now I'd like to share with you another story, this time Miss Mavis.
So I told you about Miss Maxine. Let's look at the story of Miss Mavis. Miss Mavis goes every 2 weeks to one of our locations to collect her money. And the guys and girls who are scamming people, they know this. So one day they go to poor Miss Mavis and ask her to collect some money for them. You see, they can no longer go to Western Union to collect because we've blocked them from the system. And they tell Miss Mavis when she collects this money for them, they will give her something out of it because she's doing them a favor. And so, poor innocent Miss Mavis goes, collects their money, gives it to them, and she gets something for her troubles. But the next time Miss Mavis goes back to collect money from one of her legitimate senders, this time her daughter, she can't collect it. She's instructed to call her sender. Miss Mavis calls her daughter, who she was collecting money from, and tells her. Her daughter calls Western Union, and her daughter is told she can no longer send money to her mom because her mom is barred from the system. When her daughter calls her back and tells her, Miss Mavis is shocked.
Are you shocked? Are you shocked? She got something, a little something for her troubles. I want to talk now a little bit about consumer protection, because Jamaica has over 140 locations, Western Union location, and every time you walk into one of those locations, it's Grace Kennedy, and we want you to understand what we're doing to protect you. So in fact, we want you to do the following when you're collecting money. We want you to be collecting money for legitimate purposes, excuse me. Do not get involved in any shape or form with persons who you know or suspect to be involved in scamming. Do not send money on behalf of other people. Only count on yourself for sending money. You know the legitimate reason why you're sending your money to Maxine or Miss Mavis. Do not send money on behalf of other persons, because they may be scammers. They are the ones who are part of a ring. And if we are seeing that you're sending to persons as a part of this ring, you will be blocked from using the system. We really want you to leave here understanding that this evening. Remember, we want you to use the system. We want your families to be able to collect. We know how important it is for you to be able to send money to help out at home. So help us protect you and your receiver. Everything we're doing, every single system we have implemented is aimed at protecting you, protecting your family, protecting our network, and protecting your money, and of course, protecting our country. For the past year, we have been taking additional steps in terms of asking questions across the network. And for those locations that we've seen a high level of suspicious activities, we have put them under review. And we have stopped them from doing business until we can get an all clear. So we want you to understand that. We have gone into the communities, we have spoken to residents, and we will continue to educate our staff, our agent, and the media as to what's happening in the industry. You are here in front of us today, and this is what we want you to leave knowing. We're doing this all so you can continue to have and not lose this valuable service and this valuable brand, Western Union. As a remittance industry, it is our aim that we pursue a better Caribbean tomorrow for today. Thank you.
Lots for us to think about, and we'll have an opportunity to talk further and ask questions later on. We have so much to be proud of and a lot to look forward to as Caribbean people, and have heard from Grace Kennedy quite a bit. Now I'm delighted to introduce Mr. Rodrigo Estebarena. He made a very funny joke today. He said his name in Spanish is Rodrigo Estebarena, and his name in English is Rodrigo Estebarena. As Vice President and General Manager for Mexico, Central America, and non-Hispanic Caribbean, Rodrigo is responsible for the Western Union's business in 35 countries and territories, including the expansion of the core money transfer services under the Western Union, Vigo, and the OV brands. He also works to develop new channels and products. He really cares about what's going on in the region, so join me in welcoming him to tell us a little bit more.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks very much for having me tonight. Thanks, Don. Thanks, Michelle. Mr. Golding. The first thing that I want to do is to introduce the Western Union team that will answer all your questions today. So please, my colleagues at Western Union, please stand up and show the audience who you are. Please, Matt, also. So you will be able to ask them and ask us every question tonight, because these are the guys that are developing the service here in the region, and I'm so proud to have you here tonight. The first thing that I want to share with you is our vision, our Western Union vision, and it's basically to be recognized as the cross-border, cross-currency money movement leader in the world, strengthening our cross-border platform that today sets us apart. We offer some kind of a rare combination to the market because we have more than 500,000 locations around the world, and we also offer digital solutions. I just did not prepare any slide because I need to pay attention to the things that I have to tell you, and I apologize for my 6 points English, right? But the most important thing is that we have the trust of you, of our customers. And it is very important that we take this into account because we also have the trust of our agents in the world. And Grace Kennedy is one of our most important agents, 28 years with Western Union in the Caribbean. And you've done a tremendous job partnering with us over the past years. Thanks very much for that. And all the things that I'm telling you is basically powered by a very powerful platform that we have because we operate in more than 200 countries and territories around the world. We serve over 150 million customers around the world, and we process in 2017 32 transactions per second around the world. So that speaks of the amount of job that is taken behind our job around the world. Of course, our business is complex. We facilitate business and customers to transact around the world in more than 130 different currencies. And we operate in an industry, as Michelle was stating, that it basically inherits risk and challenges. And you know about the money laundering, you know about the consumer fraud and many other threats that we face every single day in our business. And let me tell you that Western Union commits significant resources behind these threats that we face every day. Not only people, funds, but also technology. And the idea is to help fight fraud and help both agents and customers basically to protect themselves to become victims of fraud. We have a comprehensive and innovative compliance program. We invested only last year 200 million on our compliance program around the world. And that speaks of the commitment that this company has to our customers. Around more than 20% of our people working for Western Union work for compliance today. But all that we do basically is focused on offering our customers easy, reliable, and convenience ways to move money. And yes, we went digital, as Don mentioned, because we listen to our customers. We hear what they have to say, and they asked us to offer them new ways to move money. And let me tell you, these days, if you do not do it, somebody else will do it. So we are becoming a very innovative company. 7 years ago, we started investing on this, and I can tell you now that our digital division is the largest digital player in the remittances world around the world. But, so imagine the power this company has when combining our digital capabilities with a network, a retail network around the world of more than 500,000 locations, physical locations. So there's no brainer, we're going to keep investing on that because we want you to have as many options as possible at the moment you decide to send money back home to your loved ones. Why Jamaica? Because Jamaica is very, very important for us. It's one of the top 5 countries in the world, and we operate in more than 200 countries around the world. My colleague Andre Largi will give you more details about Jamaica and how the country is important for Western Union. But I can tell you that Western Union is fully committed to Jamaica and the Jamaican people. And our commitment is to continue innovating on global cross-border money movement and delivering greater value for you ever. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Andre. While you come, let us acknowledge Ms. Barbara Atherley, Consul General to New York from Guyana. Would you kindly stand? Thank you so very much for joining us. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Cleo. Members of the panel, good evening. Honorable former Prime Minister. Family, or as my friends would say, family. Greetings. I take a lot of pride in working with Western Union for a host of reasons. First of all, they have the right colors. They're only missing the green, but they have the right colors. But more importantly, they care about the things that, as an organization, fundamentally we care about. They serve our core family members, friends, loved ones, right across the world. Don mentioned that Jamaicans are in over 193 countries. Well, I dare say we're in almost 200 countries. I had a friend that went to Alaska, true story, went to Alaska on our research activity, she's a biologist, and very much so there was a Jamaican there. True story. So it is something that we take great pride in, and one of the great privileges that I have is in representing Western Union and Caribbean is meeting true everyday heroes, members of the diaspora that are passionately committed to supporting the diaspora. And today was no exception. This morning, we had the great privilege to meet with members of the Jamaica Central Labour Organization. Now, many of you may not know who the Jamaica Central Labour Organization is, but I'll share with you. Each year, thousands of our countrymen travel to the US, travel to Canada to work on farms, in hospitality. They're teachers, they're nurses. And each year, these persons, particularly the farm workers and the hospitality workers, they are cared for in their host environment by members of the Jamaica Central Labour Organization. Now, these persons cover the entire United States. It's a small organization. I had the privilege of meeting 3 of their representatives, but one struck out to me this morning in our discussion, Ms. Hutchinson. Ms. Hutchinson, who is here this evening, I think she's right here. Debbie, please stand. Ms. Hutchinson, as Vice Consul, is responsible for the Northeast. Hopefully I'm representing you right. And she was speaking about the farm workers and the experience that they have. Now, it's not a sad story, it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story of persons making sacrifice, going abroad, and doing what is necessary to take care of their family. And other members of their own countrymen working tirelessly to visit them weekly, monthly, every year, every farm, no matter where they are, every hotel, no matter where it is, to make sure that their needs are cared for and that things go in order. So, members of the Jamaica Central Labour Organization, was a great pleasure. The discussion that we have, I won't divulge here, but you have our commitment to providing the support that has been requested, and we'll be talking more about it. So, for my brief presentation today, I have some information to share, and one of the great things I love about being Jamaican is that we talk straight. We speak directly, and working in a global environment is something I come to treasure about my countrymen, is that we don't beat around the bush. So this evening I will attempt to not beat around the bush and to deliver direct information that hopefully will be of value to you. Now, we live in a global environment, and Michelle spoke about it earlier. We deal with realities now that we didn't have to deal with before. Terrorist financing out of some countries in the Caribbean, human trafficking, narco-terror. I mean, it is something, we're hearing things now that we've never had to deal with. And the fact is that we live in a very global world. We live in a very small world that is now so interconnected. What happens in one side of the world will no doubt have an impact on us in some way, shape, or form on another side of the world. And all this interconnectivity has made the world a little bit more complex. And most of us, if not all of us, would be forgiven if we had the sentiment that, boy, living today, you know, it used to be a lot easier. No matter what it is that you're doing, it used to be easier. And I want to take serious things and joke, but for those of us who have kids, you know, kids going to school right now, have you ever tried to help them with their math homework right now? Mathematics, 1 + 1 = 2 has changed. I literally have to study what my son is doing in school before I can help him with his homework. Mathematics, more complex than it used to be. For those of you, I mean, this is New York, not everybody have a car, but for those of you who have a motor vehicle, particularly a newer one, don't you dare go under the bonnet and think that you're going to try and fix something. Nowadays you need to get a computer to ask the car's permission if you can change the battery or change the radiator, right? And of course, most of us here would have the experience of traveling internationally. Those of you who are young enough, Mr. Golden, hopefully you're in that category. Those of us who are young enough to remember what it used to be like going on an airline, taking a flight. Nowadays we have security scans, we have, you know, a host of processes that we have to go through. The airports themselves are by far very much larger, the planes bigger and more massive, carry more people. It is all very complex. And the truth is, as much as we might bemoan the fact that it's complex, it's for a reason. The mathematics that our kids need to learn today is different than what we learned growing up, because the work world that they're going into is far more complex and the skills that they need are more robust. So the math has to evolve. Now, 1 and 1 still must equal 2, but maybe they get there a different way. The cars that we drive are far more capable. They have far more automation, there are far more nuances to them, and thus the technical expertise required to fix those cars becomes higher. So don't you dare go under the bonnet, take it to the mechanic. And as far as planes go, and all the forms of transportation, these pieces of equipment are massive. They can go farther, longer, they carry more people. And inherently, because of the risk that they pose, we have to be more judicious about the people that we let on them, and we have to be more judicious about the people who we let operate them. Now, the same is true for all of these things, similar to our industry. In our industry, it is transformed.